almost forgot the mic. What a season, fellas. What a season. I literally just got done watching this game. This might come out like a couple hours later, but like, here are my raw thoughts, okay? What a game. I love that game, bro. It was such a good game. It was such a good game. Honestly, at the first, I was thinking like, man, maybe Indiana ain't built for all of this. Maybe Miami's built. It didn't look competitive in the first. It was like 10-0. It didn't look competitive at all. And then maybe like once they got that 57-yard rush, everything started to change. Not even like that 57-yard rush. It was like maybe a little like before then too. The crowd started to get a little more into it, and then it just took off from there. It just went boom. And honestly, the Indiana handled adversity very well throughout the season. This is probably the most adversity they faced, other than maybe Penn State. Honestly, I think this is more adversity. This team is better than Penn State, and Indiana played top-notch football, and they still managed to make it Miami still managed to kind of make it close. That defensive line is very good. They got after Mendoza the entire day. This is the most rough Mendoza's looked the entire playoffs, let alone maybe the entire season. He was bloodied, bruised up. They were hitting him. They were making sure to know that, hey, you're not in for an easy day. The first one where you got hit on the RP or that read option, where you just got hit, and it was very apparent that he was bloody as hell, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm in for a long day, but he didn't like get it like stuck in his head. It was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a hard game. He was like, nope, I'm next play. But from the fans, it looked very, I don't know, it looked very hard, like a very hard hit. But I don't know. I just think that Mendoza did a very good job of navigating through all the high pressure environment. I think Mendoza would be a great quarterback. I think he has all the tools. 6'5" frame. He's 220. He's accurate down the field. He makes smart decisions. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot. He doesn't throw dumb interceptions, which is what I thought Dante Moore lacked, which was that ability to maybe not read the defense so well. You saw with the Indiana game, the first play where he just threw a pick six, where Pons just jumped it. I think that's where kind of Fernando separates himself, and just the leadership on and off the field. He seems very poised. He seems like he's in control of the offense. I'm not saying Dante Moore wasn't in control of his offense, but I feel like Dante Moore had a little bit more to be desired in the leadership aspect. He was a little more soft-spoken. He was trying to work on that. I know he was trying to work on that, but it wasn't anything compared to Fernando. And I think Mendoza did a great job, and he showcased it tonight, where he didn't have a great passing game. He went 16 for 27, and it didn't have a really good passing game. But what I do like about him is that he died out there. Like he saw in his post-game interview, he lifted up his arm, and it was all bloodied and stuff from that run, or just in general, he was all bloody. His mouth was bloody from the hit he took early in the game. It was a tough game for him, and this is probably the most bruised I've seen him. I said this earlier. This is the most bruised I've seen him, like in just totality. And I just think that he did a pretty good job about handling it. You saw it. He dived down the end zone, and he was just commanding that offense. And I think that's really what a team needs, is that leader to command them. And the running game wasn't that great. Surratt didn't have a good game. Cooper Jr. had a pretty good game, and even Becker had a pretty good game too. But I don't know. I just think there's been no team that really bounces back and stops the bleeding, like some of the commentators said. They stopped the bleeding. And Indiana does the best job at that. It was where they just make sure to minimize the mistakes. Yes, it wasn't a very clean game. There were some rough penalties. They're not penalized at all. They were top 10 and least penalized teams, but there was some penalties this game, and they still handled it with class and business and didn't let that stop them. Sure, the game could have been ended quickly. The left tackle flinched right before their game, so it was pushed back 5 yards, so they eventually settled for a field goal. But still, they handled it well, and they managed to make a clutch play at the end of the game where they would intercept it, and that's what this team's done. They've showed up in big moments. You saw that in Penn State. You saw that in some of the splashes in the Oregon game when they played in Eugene, Oregon, and you saw it now where Carson Beck was driving down the field. Carson Beck had a pretty okay game too. He didn't play terrible. He was driving down the field. He had some momentum. He was just a little past half field. He needed a touchdown. It was such a great disguise scheme. That's what they said in the start of the game. They wanted a disguise scheme. That's what they say on the broadcast too. The coaches want to disguise their defenses to make sure that you could confuse the quarterbacks, because these quarterbacks can burn you if they know the coverage. And they did that. Mendoza did that at times. Beck did that at times. Beck played a pretty good game too. I want to give his flowers to Beck too. It's just at the end, the disguise eventually worked, where it was in the flats. He thought he was to stay in the flat, and eventually Sharp went up, cut back upfield, and picked it off. We're back through that back shoulder on the sideline. He got disguised, and it ended up in disguise. It's really poetic, and how this game went was very poetic too. Mendoza going to Miami to win in his hometown. That was very poetic too. I think that was a very good storyline. It was a very feel good storyline where he would feel like he felt betrayed by Miami because they offered him a walk on and he was like, nope, I'm gonna go somewhere else and I'm gonna go prove to be a quarterback. He did that at Cal. He played pretty good at Cal. Cincinnati offered him to come to Indiana, and boom, he took off from there. Won a Heisman national championship, 16-0. First team to do that since Yale. And honestly, this is the first legit 16-0 team since Yale. So props off to Indiana, man. They played a hell of a game. Let's go look at the box scores quickly. So this is what the box score looks like. So Beck, not a great game on stat wise, but I think if you watch the game, he didn't play that bad of a game. Fletcher had a very good game too. That monstrous 57-yard run, and Tony had a very good game too. Where he had that touchdown where he broke a couple tackles. Cooper also had a pretty good game. Honestly, there were playmakers and there were people who didn't really do much. The first thing I can think of is Keelan Marion. He had that one drop where that was like a 40-yard gain, and he one-handed it and fell down. Like he was very good in the Cotton Bowl against Ole Miss. Didn't do very well against the Hoosiers. And really, the only one who really went going was Malachi Tony. And CJ Daniels was a decent blocker. He was a good blocker for the Malachi Tony, or for the Mark Fletcher run. But other than that, they didn't really get much going receiving wise. And I think Malachi Tony was a really X factor. I think he'll be very good next year. He kind of reminds me of rookie Ryan Williams, and maybe even like a little more shiftier too. Like he's very good. I think he'll develop into a nice player. And Kalen Brack and Hamby were okay. Omar Cooper Jr. had a big game. Surratt was kind of held accountable. There was a couple back shoulder throws which he didn't catch, which we haven't really seen this year. So it's gonna be an interesting way to look at him. But I think it was just kind of an off game. But again, it's fine. I mean, they still got it done. The offensive line was kind of pretty good too. They had a little like mishaps. Like I said, the false start kind of ruined some momentum they had, but they played a relatively clean game for how good Miami played. Miami had a good amount of sacks though. They had two sacks. Mesidor had 2, and Bain had 1. Obviously, those Batman and Robin, bro. I mean, it's a great team. They're a great offensive line or defensive line. There's a reason why they're all getting drafted. Bain's getting drafted top 10 for sure. Mesidor is getting first round buzz, maybe even second round buzz. He's a little older prospect, but he's been very good. Even Bissentime is fine too. This defense is good. They have a lot to build off of, especially in Fletcher. And if they get the right quarterback too, they can make some noise. I would like to see a little more from Marion or Daniels. And for the Indiana side, I would like to see a little more from Surratt. But again, Indiana won the game, and the offensive line did a good amount of job to actually make sure to keep this game like winnable. And let's give it a props to Mendoza too. He played very well. The rush was very clutch, and he was making smart decisions. He didn't turn over the ball much. Just thought Miami defense is too good. And then Kamara, very, very good block. Without that block, I think that game might have gone into overtime without that block. Like honestly, they would have found a way to get into overtime. That block was very good. They've been killer on special teams the entire year. So it's kind of fitting. Again, this game was just poetic. Mendoza going back to Miami, just doing what they were doing best all year. And honestly, there's nothing more you can really ask for. This team did all they could, and 16-0 never felt so good. Props to Signetti. He turned around a program so quickly. But yeah, this is a 2-year rebuild, and bottom of the standings Indiana was, and they were titled favorites of the preseason 100-1. No team has ever done that before, and it's just crazy to think about how well this team's coached and how well they just executed everything they could. And honestly, it's pretty poetic. Thank you as always for a great college football season. I don't know how many of you guys watch me, but it's awesome just to sit down here and be able to like talk about what I think, and it's pretty cool to see how things shape up. And I'm glad I keep on. I'm gonna keep on talking about this for a good amount of time because I don't see any stop in the near future. But I just want to say like this has been a great season, and just make sure to leave a like on the video, hit that and post notification bell, and I'll see you guys tomorrow and Wednesday mock draft day, best day of the week.